Hi, welcome to Kaffeeklatsch with M, my new podcast that my husband, you may know him from Ramblings with Joe, has talked me into. It's taken him several years, but here we are.
I didn't talk her into anything. I said, you want to do a podcast? She said, yes, as long as it's mine and you're not.
No. He lies. He lies.
And what is the name of your podcast?
Kaffeeklatsch with M. Okay, Kaffeeklatsch is a German word that basically means we're going to gossip over coffee. But it isn't just gossip. It is casual conversation about anything that we would like to talk about. It's usually over coffee and cake.
This time it's over.
This time it is over
Chai latte.
Chai latte. L'chaim.
L'chaim.
What we're talking about today,
That brings me, the l'chaim brings me to what I would like to talk about with your permission, which is your spiritual journey for the last 30 years or so.
Oh, we're going to start in the beginning now?
No, I think we'll start with l'chaim.
And then I walk backwards. Then we'll work backwards.
We can jump around, but why am I now saying l'chaim and lahitraut? Lahitraut.
Because I'm learning Hebrew, and then I use it on him all the time, because if I don't, I forget the words. But never mind the grammar. I haven't picked one of those books up yet. I'm just watching Israeli TV shows and listen to Israeli pop to learn it.
Your native tongue?
German.
You were born?
In Germany.
So I wasn't there for you learning your second language. I am here for you learning. Well, I guess you also picked up some French along the way at some point?
No, Italian. I skipped French. Okay, we learned, when I was growing up, my generation, I don't know how it is now, but my generation grew up, we learned 3 languages in school. Or obviously our native tongue, German.
Right.
We didn't learn that. We just, like you got English, We had German, we had French and Latin. So you could pick, and of course we had English.
Right.
English was, French and Latin were, one of them was optional, but if you went to the whole 13 years of school, you would eventually learn 3 additional languages. So a lot of Germans are polyglots, I think is the name. They know more than 3 languages.
You were reared Catholic?
Yes.
Roman Catholic?
Yes, my adoptive family, they were Roman Catholic. So yes, my whole town was Roman Catholic. So it was the default. You didn't ask any questions. You just did. And as a kid, you know how you are. You just follow along. You believe in God, and that's it. You don't really ask questions as a kid. Not until you grow a little older. Like,
how many religions were in your hometown? How many?
You pretty much can say that there was only 2 families. We had 360, a population of 360 in our town. And there were 2 families that were Protestant Christians. And the rest were Roman Catholic. And everything around the town, the whole community, it was, Roman Catholic. I didn't know anything else. I kind of thought that the whole entire country of Germany was Catholic. No, I didn't learn that until I was in my 40s.
Yeah.
Anyway, there was 2 families that, and they didn't participate. It was almost like they were not outcasts, but they didn't, we knew them, we were friendly, you saw them, but you never really saw them at any of the festivals or the town goings on. They kept to themselves. I don't know why.
So one of the things that I found as kind of a culture shock to me was the government religion tax. I don't know how else to say it. Can you explain what that is?
Kirchensteuer. Church tax.
Church
yes.
tax.
If you're a member of, I'm guessing any religion, you have to pay well, no. I can't say that because I haven't researched it. If you're a Roman Catholic in Germany, you will be paying church tax, and the government doesn't collect it. Actually, my father went around to collect it. And one time I did, because he didn't have time. He said, you need to go collect the church tax. I was a tax collector. Anyway, so you go around, you have a sheet. Everybody tells, I think it is based on the size of your property. There is some kind of, like a millage rate maybe, along those lines. I'm not sure. I was a kid then. So it was already written out how much each family owed.
Right.
And you went around and you collected it and you gave them a receipt. And then when you had the entire collection together, I don't know how the adults handled it. I think my dad just turned it in somewhere. I think he turned it into the priest, and then they...
So this wasn't collected by the government?
No.
And how much was
church
it?
tax. It went to the church, I think.
How much was it?
I do not know.
I mean, traditionally, everybody talks about a tithing. It was
No, tithing was different. This was church tax.
Yeah, so this was in addition to your weekly donation.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, tithing was done when they passed the basket around.
How many times did you go to church a week?
Well, we weren't necessarily extremely observant, but I had to go at least once a week, and then when I had to read scripture or something, or had to do altar service, then of course I had to go whenever.
All right.
But I think we had 2 masses, like one on Tuesday evenings or something, and one Saturday, and then obviously the holidays and the festivals and stuff we had extra. And when someone requested an extra mass, we had that, in honor of a loved one who recently passed, that sort of thing.
Right.
Dead.
So you fell away from the Catholic Church as soon as you became a young adult?
Yeah, as soon as I left my dad's house and I wasn't required to go anymore, I kind of became secular. I still believed in God, but I became secular. I didn't like the whole rigmarole, and there were some things that were kind of contradictory. So, when you're a teenager, you start asking questions, and, going to church is so boring.
Foreshadowing. There will be a return to the Catholic Church. You left the Catholic Church. I think that the Catholic Church had a very serious problem back in the day, in that I also was raised Catholic. I was raised in a different situation. I was raised reared in a church in the South, a Catholic church, and that there was a lot of being ostracized by my peers during the Catholic Church. So my situation was different than yours.
You know what? Maybe that's what was going on with the 2 Protestant families. It was a friendly outcast.
It was immediately what I thought of.
I was a child. I didn't know.
No.
I never knew the people. One family, I became friends with their daughter.
Yeah.
So, we were hanging out all the time.
Right.
But they had a different different set of values.
And the so the church, obviously, it was a very community-based church. If most of the town, with the exception of 2 families,
the community was huge. Yeah.
The 2 families that were not Catholic, were they included in all the community functions,
They didn't show up.
Oktoberfest or anything like that?
No, they didn't show up. They didn't show up to any of them. They just kept to themselves.
It was
that
very
makes
similar.
me think now that I think back as an adult. It makes me think they weren't exactly welcomed.
Yeah.
Maybe they were given the cold shoulder, because you do that polite thing.
Right.
You are rude, but still polite. You have to read between the lines. So maybe that, Germany's no different than here.
It was, and I think perhaps that's the same everywhere. Quite possibly they were quietly ostracized.
Yeah, in a friendly...
That's kind of how I felt.
Yeah.
And I think that across religious boundaries throughout the world, that's what happened.
See, I didn't experience that. Now, here it's a little bit different. Religion here is... as a European, religion here is a little bit intense.
Yeah, it can be. I mean,
it depends on, obviously it's I'm talking in generalities. It doesn't, but, the talking, speaking in tongues and all of these, or the snake.
Those are very specific sets of Christianity.
There's a snake charmer church somewhere that I've read about. And it gets very eclectic, I think. There's a lot of... We don't have that in Germany. Of course, I left here when I was 19, so...
After leaving the Catholic Church, how long was it before you went back to any other religion? Were you ever an atheist at this point?
No, not at this point. I just became secular. I didn't think much of God. I just did my thing and didn't go to church. Then when I joined the army, it was a good way to get out of, some extra or whatever, out of doing KP or whatever. I need to go to church. So me and several of my fellow soldiers went and basically went to a different church every Sunday just to check it out. And my favorite was the Southern Baptist Church. They had joy. They had, I don't know, there was a positive, uplifting energy in that church. And that's where I kept going for the rest of basic training. Very welcoming. And singing and joyful. And, I liked that.
They were the primary culprit for making me feel ostracized as a Catholic in my hometown.
Oh, Southern Baptist?
Yes.
See, I had it totally, but I was on a military base, so that might be different there.
The Southern Baptists were the primary culprit, and of course I was a child, so this was from children's point of view,
right.
And children are monsters. Mm-hmm. So, but I find it ironic.
Actually, not all children are monsters. Only the ones that have subpar parents are monsters.
Yeah.
We got the monster slapped right out of us.
So were you baptized in the Southern Baptist Church?
No, it was just a way to...
You don't have to be offended. I've been baptized a bunch of times.
I'm not offended. I'm like, no. I wasn't enjoying it that much.
You were just a guest.
I enjoyed the experience. I did go because of God. I went to get out of... If you didn't go to church, they found something for you to do.
Right.
Right. And, I also started smoking, If you
at
didn't
church.
smoke, no, not at church. If you didn't smoke, they find something for you to do. So, you got to grab a pack of cigarettes. Smoke break. Smoke them if you got them. That was the key word. If you didn't take a cigarette out, they found stuff for the other people to do.
Absolutely.
So, no, it wasn't in a religious experience.
Did you learn anything about Southern Baptist while you're there? Did you see anybody get saved, go down to the front?
I don't think so. I think that was a well-established congregation. And no, not that I recall, no. They didn't ask us either. I think that was a voluntary thing. I think they stand up there and says, does anybody want to come? Yes.
No,
and I don't think that happened while I was going,
So after that church, did you go to any other church?
Heck no.
You didn't? I mean, how long after that was it before we got together?
4 years.
Oh, so for those 4 years, there was no other religious...
No, I still consider myself a Roman Catholic, but I lived my life secular. I didn't think much of religion at all, or spirituality, or faith, or God, or anything. I just knew there was a God, but other than that...
When did you hit your atheist phase?
Oh, okay. So
oh my gosh!
It was a slow decline.
I'm about to find out that I drove her away from God.
No, it wasn't you. You had nothing to do with it.
It was a slow decline.
Okay, my first husband was a little bit militant, so it turned me off of religion.
Yeah.
And he was a...
What do you mean by militant?
Okay, let me finish my sentence before I forget my train of thought. He was Assembly of God, by the way. He never cracked open the Bible. He never went to church. He never did any of these things. But when it came time to correct me, he brought up religion and waved the Bible around. So that was a turnoff. He said, practice what you preach before you come and correct my behavior. I didn't say it like that. I was young. We had arguments over it instead. Now I would tell him, sweep your own stoop before you sweep mine. Judge not, lest ye be judged yourself, is basically the meaning.
So your relationship with your ex-husband was really something that was kind of incompatible with your belief system, or lack thereof.
It wasn't incompatible. He was secular too. He was just talking like he wasn't.
Yeah.
It was a double standard there. No, that religion we didn't fight over it much. He just brought it up when he wanted to win an argument with me.
So let's move away from that.
Right, yeah, it's not really. Anyway,
when did you become an atheist?
It was a slow decline into agnosticism. I dabbled a little. In this whole entire time span when I was secular, I dabbled a little.
Did you become an atheist while we were together or before?
While we were together. I never was an atheist until... So it is your fault, no why?
I knew it.
No, I think... Yeah, I dabbled with my friend in Idaho in Wicca. I dabbled with the same
W-I-C-C-A?
W-I-C-C-A, yes. It's a pagan religion.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm kind of ashamed of it now, but it was kind of fun at the time and interesting. But none of the spells work, by the way. Don't work. Doesn't work. Don't. I mean, it might work, but we were just, I don't know.
All journeys take us through strange lands.
Yeah, anyway, and we also dabbled together, which was her religion. I mean, she didn't dabble, I did. She was a Jehovah's Witness. Her family is were Jehovah's Witnesses, or still are Jehovah's Witnesses. And so I dabbled a little bit in that while we were still in Germany. I met her in Germany. She's from Idaho, and then we moved to Idaho. Remember, the whole story. Okay. But anyway, and I tried a few Protestant church. I tried
Did you go to Jehovah's Witness?
No, they disparaged another religion, and I said, I don't want nothing to do with people who make a point by disparaging another faith.
So you never did go to Jehovah's Witness church?
No, they came to us. They were missionaries.
Well, no, you said that your friend in Idaho.
Yeah, my friend, no, we never went to service. She was a little secular herself.
I don't know. The word secular might be being misused here. I think that falling away from a religion, like when I was Catholic, and then I became atheist, and then I found spirituality again, and I always thought of myself as a Catholic. Mm-hmm. I didn't consider myself a secular Catholic. I considered myself a wayward Catholic. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Okay.
So,
off the derech.
Yeah. So I don't know. So after the Jehovah's Witness,
off the path. Derech is Hebrew for path. Yeah.
So you go with the Hebrew again.
Gotta practice.
So after the non-participation in the Jehovah's Witness church, what did you do? So you had a little bit of Wicca, and then
Calvary Chapel.
Oh yeah,
you remember that? Yeah. And they turned me off when they put me on the spot.
The forced prayer.
The forced prayer.
Yeah. And let's talk about that. Let's do, because I think that churches think that this particular technique, I've recognized a few of these techniques in almost every church I've ever been into. One of them is the calling people down to be saved. Number one, you have to build up enough courage to get up and walk down. And that amount of courage comes with an adrenaline rush. And once you're down front and you are saved, that adrenaline rush kind of converts to excitement because you are now part of that community. And every church I've been to, save the Catholic Church, has been that way. Right. And they have used that technique.
You think that maybe it actually works? It just doesn't work on introverts like us?
It works on a lot of people. It does. I've seen it done so many times.
It turned me off because they wouldn't.
But the ability for them to call you down and give you... I experienced that in the Catholic Church. When I was in the youth ministries, we went on a youth ministry church to the Atlanta. It was so much
trips.
Fun. Yeah.
Oh, those were awesome. We went all over the country. Yeah. And those were awesome. I did enjoy those.
So the youth ministry actually kind of installed that particular set of circumstances on us. And during Mass, they had us come down to the front and tell us how our weekend was. It was identical. Later on, when I went and I was saved,
they didn't make us do that.
No, it wasn't made. We weren't made.
Oh, you could. They asked.
They asked. That's how this works. They don't force you down because, look, I don't have a problem with any religion. You want As long as you're not hurting anybody, follow your religion.
Problem with one religion. The rest are cool.
Well,
the rest that I know of are cool.
So, but that technique of calling for volunteers to come down and be saved, which is what this kind of equated to. Later on, when I did it at a Baptist church, I recognized it immediately. Oh, this is the same exact feeling.
Recruitment tactic.
It really is. That's how I kind of ended up looking at it. And it's not a problem if that's what you're doing. I don't care. But that's how I looked at it.
It's anyway. And, we tried all of these things in the Bible study. And then Marcus, our friend that lived with us at the time, we did Bible study, and he introduced me to Strong's Concordance. And I was reading, and we were talking about catechism and comparing notes and all that stuff. And I found more and more inconsistencies. The whole thing didn't make any sense. And the people, that whole forcing you.
So we went to a Bible study.
Right, back to the Bible study.
Yeah, our roommate, we were
Marcus.
we were helping Marcus out, and he invited us to a Bible study, and we said, okay, let's go to the Bible study. And during the Bible study, they had an opening prayer. Now, in retrospect, I should have warned M what was going to happen.
You knew?
Well, in retrospect, I knew. I've been in that position.
I was ambushed.
Yeah, no, we were both ambushed.
I realized when they were going around the table
that it was coming to you.
And I was like, I'm on the inside. I'm sweating blood and tears, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm just gonna say a pass. I can't, And that's what I did. I said I prefer to sit.
No, we just sat silently. We just sat silently for it must have been 2 minutes.
I said that I don't want to.
So, for my Protestant friends, if you are dealing with a Catholic, let me tell you, this is a horrible idea, because as long as you have any of those Catholic roots still hanging on to your being, they're not going to pray with you. You can sit there for an hour. But if you are an ex-Catholic or recently ex-Catholic or an out of, what did you call it? The German word when you're not practicing? A non-practicing Catholic, but you still have roots in it. Mm-hmm. I tell you, you are going to be, if you haven't had a long time to indoctrinate that person, they're not going to pray with you. It's too foreign. What you're asking them to do is too alien.
It was weird because Catholics have structured prayer.
Oh, yes. Very structured. Very structured.
Kind of like it is in Judaism. You can still speak to God personally, but that's, there's two types of prayer.
Between you and God.
But that's between you and God. Yeah. You talk to God. You don't talk in front of people to God. I mean, you can. Also, if you're expecting a prayer from a Catholic or an introvert, as we're both, if you're expecting a prayer from them, I got to know the people first. So
even if you don't know the person, if someone,
few meetings,
if someone in that circle of people that we were sitting with had just taken a moment to say, "Is there anything that you would like to mention as a prayer?"
It
would have taken all of the
experience.
Instead, we just sit there for a good 2 minutes, and 2 minutes in perfect silence.
They were just waiting, weren't they? Because we were sitting next to each other. I didn't say anything. You didn't say anything.
That's part of
the program. And it was starting to get uncomfortable, and we just sat there.
That's part of the program.
So I could have sworn I said I didn't say anything. False memory? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we just sat there.
I thought I had.
I didn't time it or anything, and it felt like an hour, but I'm sure it was
sweating. The stress sweat,
absolutely. I didn't know we were going.
Yeah,
when you go to catechism in a church,
we didn't
Catholic,
back, did we?
No, never did. Oh no, yeah, we went back one time
with Marcus.
Yeah, but it was for like a dinner.
Well, they had AA too, and I went to AA with Marcus.
Yeah, that technique may work on the majority of people. There are people in this world that technique will never work on, and you're sitting looking at two. Yeah. So after that spiel,
doesn't work on one of my daughters either.
Yeah, let's fast forward to Augusta, Georgia, a little bit, and get back to Catholicism, because you fell back into the Catholic.
Oh, yeah.
What was the priest's name, Father?
So Father Munn.
Father Munn, he passed.
God rest his soul. Yes, he was my confessor.
Yep.
So there's a story there. When did the movie come out? Was it 2012? The movie Passion of the...
No, not Passion of the Christ. The Last Christ. Oh my goodness.
the dude with the blue, what is his name?
No, it was the Passion of the Christ. I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's what it was.
Called, right?
Yes, that's what it was called. Yes.
What's the dude's name?
Jim Caviezel.
No, not the one that played
Mel
JC.
Gibson.
Mel Gibson. That's who I was thinking of. He's a Catholic.
Yeah.
Anyway.
A
weird one.
Oh no, he's very devout. Extremely.
Very devout.
Oh yes.
It seems weird to me because we were never really that devout.
Just as an aside, in one of the scenes in the Passion of the Christ, when they are hammering the nails into Christ's hands, during that scene, that was Mel Gibson's hands. He insisted on being a part.
Did they literally nail something?
No.
He wanted his hand to be in the scene.
He was the one holding the hammer and the nail.
Oh, yeah. That was his. Okay.
Yeah, he's very devout. He's a very devout man, and I hope that he's found peace in a lot of that controversy that he has gone through. You found a confessor in the Catholic Church, and
right after that movie, it was weird, but I guess that speaks to having something that you can use to overcome something you didn't think you could. I had social anxiety at the time. I still do in a way, but I manage it. But I had crippling anxiety. I would have panic attacks in public. And so when that movie came out, I was trying to find my faith again. I was, getting back into things, and you bought me a catechism. I started reading the Bible again and all that stuff. And then the movie came out and I was like, I got to go and do this.
I was actually on the road.
You were on the road, so I had to go by myself. And I was like, I want to see this movie. I need to see this movie for some reason. I had this in my mind. And so I pulled myself up by my bootstraps. And probably the whole entire time I was driving there, I probably had a heart rate of 160. But I persevered, and it was a packed house, and I couldn't handle crowds. Oh my gosh. But once I went in there and I was like sitting there, and usually I can't hang out in a crowded room. Like I wouldn't go to the movies because of this. So this was the first time in a very long time that I went to the movies. And I found an empty seat, and I sat down, and the movie started, and the anxiety was gone. I had to go to the restroom in the middle of it, and I realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not afraid of crowds anymore. So that was to me was a sign that I was doing the right thing, and I started doubling down on my Roman Catholicism. So I found myself started going back to church, found myself a confessor. You were still over the road, so I did all this stuff by myself. So, and I felt I started the anxiety falling away.
Right.
I started to, heal from that. And eventually I quit going because I was too embarrassed to have to confess my sins, the same sins every Saturday. And eventually I just quit going because I couldn't get a handle on the sin that I had to confess. So, and then I just kind of, did a little bit of home study and stuff. And then I don't know what the timeline was there, probably a few months maybe. And I had some I don't want to get into the details, but there was like at least 4 occasions where I was accosted by Christians, and I'm saying accosted verbally, and kind of friendly bullied. I don't know. I still don't know what the heck was going on, but I think they needed a charity case. And I was their pet project, or they wanted me to be their pet project. I mean, that's kind of mean to say, but that's how I felt. And then I was, after so many of those, and then all the inconsistencies while I was reading and studying, I was like, screw this. So back to the long slide into agnosticism and atheism.
I came back to, came off the road and started running more of a regional situation. And I too you went with me to Passion of the Christ. And we started going to the Catholic Church, and I remember very clearly going to confession for the first time in maybe 20 years.
Right, that was a long list.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't really that long.
My list was long.
The priest didn't want a grocery list that I went and sat with. He wanted sincerity, and I gave him sincerity. That's a big difference between Catholic and Protestant. Protestants don't do the what do you call it? Intercessory, the intermediate between God and man.
And that is a sticking point for me now.
Yeah.
There is one God.
So you fell back into atheism at some point. Let's skip the second bout of atheism, and move on to where we're at today.
No, that was my first bout of atheism. You misunderstood. I just became, basically, I just put God on the back burner, didn't think about it.
Oh, okay.
I was just that's why I used the term secular. I was living a secular life.
All right. Well, so as an atheist,
that was my first time sliding into atheism.
As an atheist, I never recognized you as an anti-theist.
No, I'm not. That is a religion in and of itself, by the way.
Yes.
Anti-theists they have a strong faith.
Yeah, they have.
That's a religion that doesn't even compute.
How long were you an atheist?
Probably about a decade, maybe a little bit more. Less than 20 years, but more than 10. And my life got better. It got better.
Atheist?
Yes, it got better. Now, I have to say to that atheism is unsustainable. I'm not talking about anti-theists. I'm just talking about people that don't believe in that stuff. And, you believe what you believe. I don't, I talked with Christians and stuff. We had discussions. But I usually didn't disclose that I was an atheist because I didn't want to be lumped in with the anti-theists. Because those people, no. So, but I started, after a while, I lost my fear of death. I lost my shame around certain things. My life became better. I was, I guess, less gloomy, less pessimistic. Just kind of didn't worry about it anymore so much. But I'm guessing about maybe 2/3 of the way through that. I've done about 3 years. I don't know. Eventually I started searching and I started thinking, oh man, I really envy, but not, in the active sense, passively envy these people. They can talk to someone when they're scared. They can find some solace somewhere. And
people that
nothing.
People that have a religious organization to fall back into.
People who have faith, yes. Yeah. No matter what that faith is.
Oh, even just someone they can pray to.
Someone they can pray to. Someone they can say, oh Lord, heaven help me. And I'm like, yeah, world is crap. Nothing we can do about it. Completely, you feel, but it started not feeling right. And it was a gradual process again. I didn't realize it at first, but those feelings were coming more and more and more and more. And then eventually I said, right before, about 3 years ago, right before I started looking for religion or faith again, I made a decision because perimenopause, foggy brain, and I'm getting Alzheimer's. My daddy passed due to complications of dementia. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to prove to myself, because it was really getting worrisome. And I need to prove to myself that I still got it. So I said, I'm going to learn a new language, because languages is my forte. Language and math. I'm going to have to pick up my Japanese again and start learning that. And I don't know. This is now something that I cannot remember how it happened and why. This was before October 7th, so that had nothing to do with me. Judaism wasn't even on the radar. I'm like, okay, I want to learn a language like Japanese, but I'm really not feeling the Japanese right now. What could I do? What other language has a not Latin alphabet? Hebrew. I don't know where the idea come from. I'm just going to learn Hebrew. So I started learning Hebrew on Duolingo. Well, learned in Hebrew on Duolingo with someone invited me onto the family plan. And that is how that started. And learning Hebrew led me weirdly into Judaism.
And which is what I have some questions about now. So you said you can't ever become a Jew because your husband has to convert as well.
I thought about it. I cannot convert to Judaism because I'm married to a non-Jew, a Gentile. And if I converted to Judaism, I would get a new soul, which will break our marriage. And then I cannot remarry you because I'm a Jew and you're a non-Jew. So I considered it. It is too much. I don't think Hashem wants me to do that. So I said, and then I found out about, you don't have to join the nation of Israel. All you got to do is pledge to keep the 7 commandments that are incumbent on humanity.
I have a question.
Okay.
So you can't convert to Judaism because your husband's not a Jew and he's not willing to convert.
Right.
I'm not ever going to convert to Judaism.
I don't expect you to.
I don't think that it's something that is in my future. Of course, my church allows for a Jewish person and a person from my church to be married.
Interfaith marriage.
Yeah.
Right. Is that allowed in Roman Catholicism?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Absolutely.
As long as you make a pledge to raise your children in the faith.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I remember now.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, the 7 commandments. There are 10 commandments that we're aware of. There are 10 commandments that we're aware of. But someone who is not a Jewish person must maintain 7 commandments.
The 7 Noahide laws.
So, you don't need to know the 7. I was just curious. There's obviously 3 that, in addition to the 7 that Jewish people have to,
have
to keep. What do Jewish people call non-Jewish people? I thought.
Goyim?
What is it called?
Goyim?
Yeah, is that what it is?
No, that just means the nations. It isn't technically, everybody says.
Everybody thinks it's derogatory.
It's derogatory. It is not. Goyim is Hebrew for nations.
And nations.
The other nations.
Not
the nation of Israel.
Yeah.
The other nations.
Right.
So it's not derogatory.
Slanderous or derogatory.
Right.
So
I'm a bat Noach. I'm a daughter of Noah.
Okay.
Because
congratulations.
The 7. We all are, because we're all descendants. We're all descendants of Noah. So the 7 commandments apply to all humanity. And so I am living the Jewish faith as it applies to non-Jews.
To Goyim.
No, as it applies to righteous Gentiles. There you go. That's the term they use. A Gentile who is following.
If a Christian is following the 10 commandments to the best of their ability and keeping them, that means they're also keeping the 7.
Mm-hmm.
Are the Jewish people okay with them?
Well, I don't know enough about to answer that question in any sort of meaningful way, other than there is the controversy along that too. If you are a Christian and you live in that faith, you too have a place. But then on the other hand, they say, no, you don't. So I believe that God is not so, if they're not aware, if you're not aware that you're sinning, the sin doesn't count, is not as bad as if you purposefully and willfully sin.
So growing up, I had a priest, Father Randall. And Father Randall, I came to him with this. I said, look, is everybody who's not Catholic doomed to hell? And he would always take time with the kids. He was a great, great priest. Anyway, he told me, he said, look, Joe, you've got this little baby in the wilds of Africa, and he grows up to be 24, 25 years old, and he gets killed by a beast of the jungle. He never met anybody that was Catholic. He never learned about Christianity. He never had. Do you think God would send that person to hell?
I don't think so.
Well, that's what I told Father Randall. I said, I don't think that's what's going to happen. I don't think that is the way a creator would treat his children. And Father Randall said, that's right. And there are a lot more gray areas than that black and white issue I just gave you. So, and he explained, and eventually I got to understand that, Catholics, the teachings of Catholicism does not teach that everybody who's not Catholic goes to hell.
No, I mean,
and it kind of seems parallel thinking with the Jewish faith from what you've told.
Catholicism stems from Judaism.
Absolutely.
It's going to sound offensive, but it's a perversion of Torah.
Well, if Jewish followers did not think it was a perversion, they would be Catholics or Christians or something else.
They would be something else, right?
That's why we have Protestants, because
they
think that the Catholic Church had perverted the...
There is something that I just read recently. A person who rejects idolatry is a Jew, or I don't know if that was verbatim, and I can't remember if that was... I can't remember the sage who said that. It's in commentary. And I have to look that up. We can put it in the notes or something.
So would you be willing to do more podcasts in the future and talk about your journey down this road of learning Hebrew and learning about the Jewish faith?
The answer should be yes, even though I'm personally unsure, but it says, he who knows Aleph teaches Aleph, and he who knows Aleph Bet teaches Aleph Bet. So I'm guessing as I learn, I'm supposed to share what I learn to teach others. So I suppose maybe it's the month of Elul. Maybe this is Hashem showing me something that I'm kind of deeply anxious about.
See,
saying, do that.
I married a very smart woman. She said a lot of really fancy Hebrew words there that I don't get.
Hashem means the name.
I don't want an explanation. I just wanted an answer. Can you,
God,
can you commit to more podcasts along this line for me? Because I'm very curious, and I think other people are probably curious as to why you're going from so many different
I don't know
avenues
if I know enough, or if I even. But I will be more prepared next time, so I can. But I will look all this stuff up and I will quote the sources in the description.
Well, the idea isn't really that you know enough to teach people the tenets of Judaism, but maybe kind of
the faith of Judaism, not
the faith, but just your journey, where you're at in your journey.
Okay.
I mean, also, this will be a great compass as to me finding out when you're going to leave me so you can go become a Jew.
And you die before me, but I don't want you to die before me. I want to die first so I don't have to suffer. I think we're kind of making this a little bit long, since this was just our first one. So I think we just kind of wrap it up. And I will see you next week, God willing. And if you're still with us, my deepest gratitude. Ask me questions in the comments. Do you want this kind of content? Or correct my mistakes? Or whatever. Just, I guess until next week. Lehitraut.
Lehitraut.